guys. Welcome to an early edition of the Fins Faithful podcast. Thanks for joining us on this Monday aftermath. The Miami Dolphins embarrassing 33-8 loss at the Indianapolis Colts in their season opener. Wasn't on my bingo card or anybody else's. We're going to dissect this game. We're going to kind of give it an autopsy, break down what it all means, and try to figure it out. By the way, I just watched the first half of the All-22, and yes, it's that bad. Joining me to help do all this stuff, not only to have my great co-host and co-pilot Jason Sarney, we have a special guest. You know him as Dougley Do-Wrong, one of the top Dolphins content creators out there. His YouTube page is taking off. He also has a great new show, The Dolphins Collective, with himself, TD Fins Talk, Omar Kelly, and Alan Poupart. I think I got them all right there. Doug, I would ask you how you're doing, but I probably already know if it's Dolphins related. Thanks for giving us some time here.
No problem, bud. I'm always going to be fun being on this show.
George, I love how you use the word autopsy. That's really a good way of.
It's not a good one.
Not a good one.
I can tell you that it was a brutal death. You know.
Let's dissect this corpse, Dougley. Let's talk about your general thoughts right now. I know we're all kind of reeling, but what's your overall take from what you saw yesterday and really the future outlook of this team?
It was not good, like at all. I put a lot of it on McDaniel. There's no way you can go into that game that unprepared, and then you have Bradley Chubb coming out and saying what he said, essentially, that they were freelancing on defense, and it's like you can't. 12 men on offense. The plays are still coming in late. Like there's so much that was wrong. Now, obviously, Tua didn't play well. Certainly, the defense didn't play well, but they were undisciplined, and it starts at the top. And we heard all offseason that, we're going to change the attitude. We're going to change this. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't see any of it. And they just look so unprepared. So, for me, obviously, I'm not happy with the way Tua played. I don't think anyone should be happy with the way Tua played. Offensive line didn't look good. The defensive line got zero pressure. The secondary was Swiss cheese. Like, it was just bad all around. The one bright spot, which I thought was funny, was the special teams was actually pretty good. Our kick returns, we were getting to the 40, it was good. Outside of that, though, it was just bad. Everything was bad. And if everything was that bad, it's the head coach. Like, they were just not prepared. And, it's just, how do you sit there as an owner and say to the guy, I'm going to give you another shot, and then he comes out like that week one? Like, at least lose 30 to 30, like 33 to 30 or 33 to 24. Like, lose being competitive. There was no heart. So not good at all.
Yeah, I think it's funny you say that because I was thinking, everybody says week ones are funky, right? They're funky. You don't really know who a team is till the first few weeks, but it's not that they lost. If they would have lost a 24-21 game, Colts could be better than expected this year. They got a heck of an offense. I mean, this is probably, you're not going to face too many more better offensive linemen all season, offensive lines than this one with the Colts. And by the way, going back and watching the film, it is right. They dominated our defensive line. But you mentioned it, we had months to prepare for this.
Mm-hmm.
For them to come out, and it doesn't stop with McDaniel. Let me tell you something. Anthony Weaver's going to get his too. Mm-hmm. Because to me, the most concerning on that part was the defense and the front seven. I don't know about you, Doug, but I have high hopes for this front seven. I know what the secondary is. Jason, Doug, you guys know what the secondary is. I don't have high expectations. That front seven, talk about that. If it plays like that, this defense is going to be bottom 5 in the league, and this team's going to win 5 or 6 games. That was the most disappointing part. They were simple, fundamental, and mental mistakes all over the field, defense and offense. It's not just McDaniel. We can blame the players. We can blame the culture. Doug, you're right. It's the coaching staff. And honestly, McDaniel's at the head of the line, but so is Anthony Weaver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how do you have Willie Gay not play one down of football? Like that, he was one of the best guys in training camp, and you don't have him play a down of football. it makes no sense at all how bad that defense was. And then, we're priding ourselves on the pass rush. We have really good pass rushers and zero pressure, blitzing over 50% of the time, like not one sack. Daniel Jones had all the time in the world to throw. It was just horrible. And yeah, Anthony Weaver definitely deserves a lot of blame. Like, again, how are you not that prepared? It just makes no sense to me. And then the Chubb also comes out and says, "No, they didn't throw anything different at us.
I saw you said that.
We know exactly what they were doing. We just weren't doing our job."
You know, Doug, when you said that, I'm going to piggyback on it. Do you remember, was it Chubb or was somebody else who said during training camp, yeah, we got to kind of respect the head coach more?
Yeah, he said last year, like, no, we didn't take it seriously last year.
That's a reflection of your head coach. The fact that a player would speak openly about that, we call him the substitute teacher here, Doug. You know when your substitute teacher comes in, yeah, it's fun, but you don't respect him. They don't fear Mike, and I don't know about you, Jason, you can chime in too here. I'm getting a little worried that Mike's lost his team. Like they don't. Jason, you chime in here. Do you think is it too early? But as Mike lost his team, then Doug, you can go ahead.
I mean, look, week one for any rash decision is too early, but you got to put this on top of some other things from the previous years that have been concerning, and nothing was done to change those exact concerns. Not being prepared, timeout usage, lack of throwing a challenge flag when you really could have at least. I know the game was pretty much over, but you got to build tiny little wins here. Just to go back on the lack of preparation, Doug, I wanted to get your take on this. We were all excited to see Matt Judon be added as a pass rusher, but what's he doing on special teams when he's got 0% of snaps on special teams last year, 8 snaps a couple of years ago? I mean, he wasn't a special teamer since early in his career, and he still wasn't even a main special teamer. And then you get a running into the punter penalty. I can't really blame the player for trying to what is he doing there? It
was such a bad penalty too, because
right.
Obviously the rule is the punter has to have room to land, because he didn't run into him. The punter fell on Judon and then fell over. Punter did his job by overreacting. But yeah, 100%. Like, what is he doing on special teams? These are like the little things that you watch and you're just like, they were not prepared at all. And, I talked about it being week one. Yeah, I understand, yada, yada. But like, again, if I'm Stephen Ross, I know it's week one, but it's like, how do you keep Mike McDaniel? How do you have faith that he's going to turn this around and make the adjustments when he hasn't his entire career as the Dolphins head coach? So, for anyone who wants him fired, I don't blame you, because I was right there with you.
Yeah, and I asked that point. I think the only way to salvage this season is by, if you're going to salvage it, is by getting rid of him. He's the clear problem. I mean, clear as day. Do you guys think it's out of realm if we woke up? Like, how crazy would you feel if we woke up and he was fired? Like, you think it's out of bounds, or you think it's, Doug, you think it's a, I thought that game was a fireable offense. To be that unprepared for that long is nuts. That's everything you know. What the heck are they doing in the building all week?
Yeah. If we woke up today and he was fired, I'd have been like, all right. Stephen Ross actually grew a pair, because that's Stephen Ross in a nutshell. We'll give him another year. Or, he doesn't fire people when they should be fired. He waits and he waits and he waits. He did it with Philman. He waited and he waited and he waited. It's just like, man, grow a pair and do what you want to do. Do what you think is right. It's like the whole Harbaugh and Sperano thing. He goes out and he tries to get Harbaugh. He gets on his helicopter, goes and meets with him, comes back, and he's like, oh, sorry, Sperano, we're going to keep you, and I'll give you a contract extension. Oh, but then at the end of the year, I'm going to fire you. It's like he makes zero sense when it comes to being an owner, and this is a prime example of it. Status quo isn't good enough, but you know what? We're going to keep status quo. We're going to keep the GM. We're going to keep the head coach. It's just, it makes no sense. And it's top to bottom. This team is just not ready to be competitive. And then you watch what the Bills did last night, and you sit there and you think to yourself, oh, can we compete with them? No, not at all. Like, not at all. And we're favorited on Sunday against the Patriots, which blows my mind. So, best case scenario, we're going to go 1-2 because we are not beating Buffalo.
That's 100%, Doug. And just to answer George's question about the firing, no, I wouldn't have been surprised or shocked. But if gun to head, you're asking me, I'm actually extremely curious. I'd love to see how he comes back on a home game against a divisional opponent. Just because I'm really, really curious to see how he's going to react. And I will tell you, if it's embarrassing, if it's like a 21-3 loss or even worse, yeah, I would fire him because Doug, he's not going to Buffalo and coming home with a W 0-2. So you might as well give the reins to Anthony Weaver. And I'm not necessarily thrilled with that prospect based on yesterday, but I'm really, really interested to see not just how he comes back on Sunday, but what this week looks like from practice, from quotes. I mean, enough with this cutesy verbiage. I mean, it's not fun anymore. It's not. And that's to some players as well, but we can touch on that in a little bit.
We wouldn't shut off the clue. We wouldn't be prepared. We weren't prepared. That's evident. But how much more do you need to be prepared for Danny effing Dimes? I don't know. Did somebody sneak Josh Allen in that 17 Colts jersey yesterday? Because he looked like. My number one key is they have weapons. Your biggest advantage was Tua versus Jones. Don't let Jones beat you, Doug. And he turned into Josh Allen. I don't know what happened. Or Andrew Luck.
And he didn't run that much. Like, it's not like we were like, because he's mobile. Like, Daniel Jones is more mobile than you think he would be. He didn't run that much. It wasn't that. It was just he had all the time in the world to just carve up the defense. Storm Duck looked out of place, especially with that touchdown that he let the guy run right past him. Apparently, Fatima Elfano was supposed to be over there.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare all around on this team.
Yeah, I saw that play. I was trying to figure out whose fault was it, and it seemed like it was a zone, and Melifano probably made the right read, and Duck had the trail. You saw a bunch of that stuff in the game on the offensive line. Simple gains, simple blitzes. They didn't pick up. You mentioned at the top of the show, all coaching. And I think you made another great point. Last night's game, sometimes, Jason, to your point as well, all this pre-snap motion, all this rhythm, and all these chess matches, sometimes you got to line up and play and just beat the guy. And we're limited. As much as we love Tua, we're limited with him. He can't extend plays. Mm-hmm. So we have to – so when I think about it, Doug, I'm thinking, well, you have a quarterback who you don't want to run. He's not going to be able to extend plays. I like what they drafted an offensive lineman. They signed an injured James Daniels. I thought they should have poured money. If you're serious about it, pour money into the offensive line. And it was clear yesterday. And, we got to talk about these injuries, Doug. But, if Keon Smith is starting and Larry Borum is in, if Austin Jackson's out, both you guys, I'm worried about Tua. But do you agree that sometimes we're outsmarting ourselves and we just got to line up? You just got to have guys who can line up. Look what it looked like last night. Are we anywhere close to that?
I think what the best thing that could happen if McDaniel did get fired and Anthony Weaver took over is we'd have a different play caller. And we would see what it would look like if somebody else was calling the plays. Because there's this whole coaching staff is so stubborn. And it drives me nuts. Like, again, not playing Willie Gay, sticking to, I'm going to call the plays, barely seeing Ollie Gordon. It goes all the way back to, Andrew Van Ginkel not even getting a contract because he probably didn't fit what Anthony Weaver wanted. They're just so stubborn and stuck in their ways. Why the crap did we go out and trade for Darren Waller? Like, we move on from Jonnu Smith and then we grab a guy who hasn't played football and didn't want to play football for a full year. It's all these decisions. It just accumulates to what we saw yesterday, and it's just a hot mess.
Yeah, Doug, just to extend that for a second, you probably half-ass a contract offer, if that, to Noah Fant, and it's not good enough. So he goes to Cincinnati, scores a touchdown, co-shares the lead in targets on that team. And, they obviously squeak out to a 1-point victory against the Browns, whatever. But why aren't you going all in to certain players and positions when there is that need instead of nickel and diming and then going to like Filene's basement, to try to get someone in, which is what they exactly did with Waller. And this is looking like it's a Will Fuller and Odell Beckham Jr. scenario all over again.
Noah Fant got a $2.5 million contract from the Bengals. $2.5 million. And I think Waller is making more than that. Like, really? Like, that's what you wanted to go with?
Swap and cost you a little bit of it, unreal.
And we're waiting on a 33-year-old tight end who's a rapper. What are we doing? Like, and this is the problem with the Dolphins. They always have these like few positions they go in with these plans that everybody can see they're not going to work, and then it goes exactly like that. Tanner Conner, you basically have no tight end out there. I saw Alec Ingold running a 12-yard dig route on that play that Keon Smith blew the block and almost cost an interception. It's like, Doug, you just say it. What do they think? You know what I mean? It's just like, what's the contingency plan? Then you're stuck with two tight ends on the roster because you have to elevate the kicker. You had to elevate. I saw that coming. You had to elevate Jeff Wilson, and you're left with Tanner Connor, and what's the other guy's name? Julian. Oh, you left with that, and they were awful. There was nothing. I mean, even though he caught a touchdown. But I want to mention your Ollie Gordon point. I was livid. And people on Twitter were attacking me saying, "Look, they only ran 15 plays." I don't know about you, Doug. I thought they were going to come out and establish the whole theme of the offseason was we're going to be more physical. We're going to run the ball. And yes, fairness, they turned the ball over. But A-Chain was having some success, and they stopped. And then we didn't see Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon falls down in his 3 yards, even on his 2 runs. I mean, were you surprised we didn't see Gordon earlier, even though it was limited plays?
Yeah, I really was. And it really did seem like they are going to use Devon Achane as much as they possibly could. The one play, and again, it was a negative play, but that man broke 3 tackles and got back to the line of scrimmage. Like, put him out there. Oh, we're going to be more physical. We're going to run the ball more. We're going to da-da-da. They didn't. And again, it's Mike McDaniel just talking out of his butt, saying things that, oh, this is what we're going to do. We're going to change the culture. We're going to focus on this. We're going to focus on that. Didn't do any of it. Didn't do a single thing.
Yeah. Let's move to the quarterback because, man, this was a very uncharacteristically bad game for Tua. To me, his arm didn't look good. He just didn't look comfortable. Are we starting to see the regression of Tua, or is it game one, the chemistry? Like, to me, Doug, Tua, and Jason, you can chime in. This is one of the worst games I've seen Tua play, and usually he's pretty decent in these type of games.
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. Normally when Tua has turnovers, he kind of bounces back.
Yes, the next drive, touchdown.
Like if you remember the Falcons game, if he had 2 interceptions, he ends up throwing 4 touchdowns. It's like there's games where he has had multiple interceptions and he normally bounces back. Now, obviously, there's the Texans game where he had 3, and then there's other games where he doesn't. But normally he bounces back. This game was trash. It was horrible from Tua. Like, he could not do anything. It was just so bad. Like, how do you get picked off by a defensive lineman? Like, how do you not see him dropping back into coverage? How do you sail that pass to Tyreek Hill? How do you not get it to him? Like, it was just so bad. And then it seems like Mike McDaniel's trying to compensate for how bad he's playing by throwing other play call out. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. And it starts to make you think, what's going on with him? Is it time to move on from him? There's only so far you can defend the guy, right? When people say certain things like he can't do this, he can't do that, I tend to defend him because it's not true that he can't. He just doesn't do it enough. There's no defense off of yesterday's game. There's no way you can defend yesterday's game. He was just bad. He was like, the reason the offense was stalling was because of him. Nothing else besides him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he got sacked once because the left side of the line just allowed pressure instantly. Yeah. But it's because of him that the offense didn't do anything and they scored 8 points.
Yeah, I think, Jason, I know you're going to go ahead real quick. I think you make a good point. I watched it. The offensive line wasn't great, but a few of those sacks were on A-Chain. They tried to get this, guys. They tried to block DeForest Buckner with Tanner Conner and Devon A-Chain. I'll go to you. I'll leave it at that. Jason, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, the whole Tua performance was rather abysmal. And now, you're looking on Twitter, you're looking at the videos of him on that blindside sack, hitting his head maybe, and the fragility of him. And even if we're dealing with this, I mean, look, a number of years ago, quarterbacks would get blown up and hit hard and just pop right back up. And this wasn't even a discussion. Now, not to go on a rhyming game, the concussion issue with Tua is so out there. It's like he's made of an eggshell. And do you buy the potential that maybe his reaction time or was he potentially to the point where he has a trouble reading things now?
The Green Bay game.
Going back to the Green Bay game. Exactly. Are we heading for another protocol scenario? Because we all know what's going to happen after that if that word pops up.
If that happens, Jason, then we're looking at we're going to do a lot of quarterback draft stuff very early on if Zach Wilson comes in. But do you think it had anything to do with it, Doug, or do you think it was just like Jason? Do you think that he was playing bad before that? But you've seen it on Twitter. People are saying he got hit in the head, like Jason said.
If that is the case, then hang him up, man.
Right.
Just to hang him up. It's time to stop playing football because you're taking how many hits have we seen from the other quarterbacks around the league? Like, so yeah, if that's the case, no, it's time to hang him up. But then we saw Zach Wilson go in there. How many air balls did he throw to open receivers? It was horrible. And again, it's another situation where you have a fragile quarterback and you go out there and you get Zach Wilson. But yeah, I don't know if it necessarily was it, but it, because like you said, he was bad before he potentially hit his head. So I think it might have just gave him the jitters. I think it might have just gave him like, oh, I'm getting hit a lot. I need to go back to what year was that where he had the horrible offensive line? I think it was like 2020, 2021, I think, or something like that, where he was just like,
what year wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Where his internal clock was just like sped up to like, yeah, it was just bad.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the chat and watching, guys. Make sure you drop that like Cap said, and thank you guys so much. And hit that little bell. We got Dudley Durong with an autopsy, a Monday autopsy. Let me say that word right. Dissecting this Dolphins loss. You mentioned something with Tua, and I almost think that when he kind of gets, I think the hit that you saw when he kind of gets that pocket up the middle, and I noticed it in this game when he gets pressured up the middle is where Tua really, really, really starts getting jittery. And you mentioned the Latu throw. Did you guys think he saw Latu? Because I don't know how he couldn't. I think he did, and he tried to force it. Doug, break the tie.
I gotta watch the film to see how late of a drop back it was, because there's a possibility that he drops back and then he starts to scramble to his right, and he's like, oh, I see a guy, and then he kind of dropped back into it.
Yeah.
I honestly think it was all just panic. He's just panicking at this point. I threw an interception. I threw a fumble. Essentially, he did throw a fumble because his arm was all the way out there. Like, how do you not have better ball protection? Jesus Christmas. And maybe he was just panicking. Maybe he went back to his whole mindset of, I need to make something happen. And that's where he starts to get himself into trouble. And that's where Tua gets himself injured, is when he feels like he needs to make something happen. Like, if you watch every single one of his injuries, it's him thinking to himself, I need to make something happen. Buffalo Bills game, where the last year where he got the concussion, he thought to himself, I got to get a first down. I need to make something happen. He gets concussion. The Bengals game, he's thinking to himself, I got to make something happen. He has all the time in the world, gets whipped down to the ground, gets concussion. It's always him thinking, I have to make something happen. So maybe that was his mindset. Again, I'm going to watch the film today, which
I know, dude. I try to get to the first half before the show I go watch the second half for tomorrow's show, but like a Wednesday show. But I feel sorry for you, Doug. It's you want to burn it, right? This is an interesting. you want to throw it away and forget about it. I try not to overreact because let me tell you something. They got dominant on both sides. That's the biggest concern for me, the line of scrimmage. We got an interesting question. I don't want to overreact week one, but Tua played horrible at this point in their careers. In general, is Waddle and Hill starting to become overrated conversation? I think Hill could be the decline. Age. There's Father Time has nobody can challenge that, and I think they just get hurt a lot. They're small. What are you guys' thoughts on that, Jason or Doug? Go ahead.
Doug, go ahead.
One thing I noticed with Hill, and I don't know why, but every time he made a play or every time he was targeted for a play, he took himself out right after the play.
Yeah, he was waving.
Yeah, like every time. Like one of them, it looked like he got a concussion and he went in the tent and everything when he got whipped down. Looked like he hit his head. But like, the deep, I think it was like a deep corner or something, and the pass was, he caught it, but he didn't get his feet in, waving himself out and waving himself out and I'm just like, again, Tyreek Hill is future Hall of Famer, generational talent. Like he's like fantastic, but you don't see Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. You don't see these guys waving themselves out after, catching a 40-yard bomb, whatever. They get back to the line, they continue to play. We need that. And again, it's a detriment to the front office and comes from the top that this offense is filled with 5'11" wide receivers. We have one tall receiver in Westbrook. It's not going to work, man. It's not going to work. And these guys, they built this offense on speed and small guys. And at some point, these small guys are going to get jammed at the line of scrimmage. We saw that against the Chiefs in the playoffs. They're going to get all physical, and it's just not going to work. You got to mismatch. You got to throw some big guys in there, and they just didn't focus on that. So I wouldn't necessarily say Hill and Waddle are overrated. I just think it's just a bad mismatch.
And all that stuff.
My concern with Waddle is another fragile player. I mean, every time he makes a play, he's holding a shoulder or he's limping off or he's wincing. And it's almost like, what's going on here? Is it the conditioning? Is it him himself? Is it the lack of practice or doing things different? I don't know. But every time I see him make a play, it's almost like he's detrimenting his future and his team's future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to have a Hill interesting question here at the end of the show about Tyreek. But you know what? We talk about he said all the right things. He said, and look what happened. For first quarter of the game, he's already complaining, and this dude is as good as gone. If this season go, I said that stuff doesn't. It's like the Jimmy Butler stuff. We put it on the rug. That doesn't go away. Tyreek is just, dude. He lies more than he tells the truth. He just now when the regular season started and he doesn't have the numbers, he's a me guy. The first chance, me. That's the problem with this team. The first chance he got, things didn't work out. Maybe he's frustrated with Tua. And look, maybe he cared, and not a lot of other people on that roster did. But like you saw it, he already started complaining. I mean, it didn't surprise me. Yeah. And another thing I didn't like, Tua's comment about Tua sometimes tries to be a leader. It seems a little forced. I like the leadership he's taking, but like, I don't know if Doug, if you caught this, the comment after the game about, I'm going to be watching who stays after practice. Like, watching what? How about watch the film and figure out what the heck went on? Did you hear that, or that caught you off guard or anything?
Yeah, he was like, or who's going to be here Tuesday? This
Weird.
or that. Something I noticed, and at first, when he would do it, because this isn't new.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of it, but him smiling on the sideline and him like laughing and joking with McDaniel while we're getting the crap beaten out of us. At first, it didn't bother me when he would do it, because I thought, don't let it get to you. Stay, don't get down. Stay, wherever you need to be to continue to try to pull yourself out of it. But it gets to a point where you're just like, all right, get angry. Get mad either at yourself or at the offensive line. Like, I remember a clip of Peyton Manning yelling at Saturday that I call the plays.
Oh, yep.
Like, yeah, like get mad about it. Get angry that you're playing like trash. Get mad that the whole team is playing like trash. The clip where he got sacked because the left side of the line allowed instant pressure. He had to physically grab Tyreek Hill to tell him to go to the other side. Get mad about that. Go over to Tyreek and be like, dude, come on, man. You know where to be and this and like get upset that, okay, maybe you're doing something, but also get upset that you're not getting help. But like to see him like laugh, it just, I'm like,
who was the Jason Frigo? Who's the quarterback who threw his guy out of the huddle because he didn't know the play recently? Did you guys hear that story? It's stuff like that I want to see. Stand up, throw. You know, if
I know Tannehill did that with the Dolphins at one point.
There was
Tannehill,
a young quarterback recently did that. But anyways,
to go back to Peyton Manning, you know, Donald Brown, I think, was a running back where you heard him audibly say, "Damn it, Donald," when he missed the block. Like you heard, like the broadcast picked it up, you know. But that's the kind of fiery quarterback you need. And that Saturday clip, absolutely, you know, to walk over to your center, Pro Bowl center on the bench, and just dictate to him who the boss is. Like we used to see that in Miami a way back ago.
Dan Marino.
Yes, sir. And another thing before I, you know, go to the next question here, you know, Marino, and we said this on the post game, he used to always say, give credit, take blame, you know, and he used to basically put everything on himself, even if a receiver just dropped the ball. He would find some way to say, yep, I could have thrown a better ball, whatever. Tua answered a question that irked me about the turnovers in bunches and said it was a wild comment. You know, maybe in the lifeblood of his career, it could be a little off base, but we're talking about a guy who started off the game with 2 turnovers and had a third before we get to the second half. So this is, to me, he had a good opportunity to really put it on himself and be like, I can't do that. I should get, you know, he talked back like almost like a bratty kid getting disciplined by a teacher. What were your thoughts on the whole attitude there? Do you think he kind of is a little bit of an attitude problem?
Yeah, I think he's starting to get into his feelings a little bit. We've seen it grow into that, especially like publicly coming out and talking about his relationship with Tyreek Hill and stuff. Like that should have been kept in the house. He's too honest, and that's his biggest fault as well. Like you got to learn how to be a PR manager and not say everything that's in your head. Like back in 2020 where he said, I didn't know the playbook fully. You know, people are going to take that and run with it that you didn't know it at all. But don't say that. You know who could say that? Tom Brady. And he said that. He said that, oh yeah, I didn't know the playbook until we hit the playoffs. He could say that because he is the greatest of his decade. You know what I'm saying? So he could say that. But a rookie, don't say that, especially when your head coach hates you. Like, don't say that.
First of all, you know, he's going like through an identity crisis. He keeps changing, like the dreads, the full sleeves. That's not you, Tua. You're not him. Don't. It's like he's like, it's like the fat kid who lost weight. You know, he's all of a sudden skinny now. He thinks he's cool. You're not him. The full. It's like it's all part of it. Like I studied psychology. Like these are little things you look at, you notice. And that's what I do when I evaluate film on players, like body language. He's almost like now he's the leader, and you gave him power. And he doesn't know how to handle it almost. So, I don't know.
And it's funny because I don't necessarily see what is happening at the quarterback position as a Tua thing. Because if you remember, this is a Miami Dolphin thing. How many quarterbacks came in to compete against Ryan Tannehill? You know, Garrard went down, Tannehill got the job handed to him, and he did not get any competition for that job. Like Matt Moore didn't even compete with Ryan Tannehill as the starter. So it's not necessarily a Tua thing, it's a Dolphins thing. For some reason, no matter who the head coach is that we bring in, they don't like to have competition for the quarterback position. And it's a problem because at the end of the day, you know, we should have brought in Joe Flacco as a backup quarterback. That should be our backup quarterback right now. And you see Tua having 3 turnovers by halftime and come out, or 2, because then we came out and he threw the interception. You put Joe Flacco in there because if you're a head coach and your job's on the line, you want to win this game. And maybe something different would have happened. But it just, it's an organizational thing, and there's a reason we haven't won a playoff game in 20 plus years, and it's not because of Tua, even though right now he's the quarterback, so everyone's really hating on him, and I can't really defend it anymore, like I said. But it's bigger than the quarterback, and it's the decision makers, and it's the upper people up top, and it's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah.
You're right. It goes way beyond just the
Stephen
position.
Ross problem. It's a Stephen Ross problem.
Yeah,
you got to make the one hire under to run the organization, and it's a domino of right decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't made that one. So go ahead, Jason.
So where are you at? Are you panicked, or are we full-fledged blow it up? I mean, is there hope? What's your scale here, Doug? Panic to hope?
Were you close to a bridge, Doug?
I am actually. There's a few bridges by my house. But if I was doing anything, I would just go to the roof. Anyway, I'm not going. I don't have to travel. Here's my thought process on it. I went into this season thinking once they brought back Greer and McDaniel, you guys probably have seen the video of me having a complete meltdown.
I saw that, yeah.
Reading the statement that it's such a stupid statement.
They had that cooked up too.
Oh my God, status quo isn't good enough, and the play. I don't want you to think I think the play on the field's good enough, and there's a change is going to happen. Nothing has changed. So from that point on, I kind of got numb, and when the season started. Before the season started, I talked a lot about my expectations, and I talked a lot about it's a win-win situation, right? Because either they're competitive and we finally win a playoff game, or we burn it down and we move on. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm more of in a wait and see moment because we know how this team is, man. They had the number 1 overall pick once this whole 2 decades. They had a top 5 pick only because they had the Texans pick, and they're never bad enough to get a top 5 pick. They're it's prime example. Last year we go 2-6 and we end the season 8-9, have the 13th overall pick. They're never bad enough. And for a fact, if McDaniel's not fired, because I saw someone in the chat say don't fire him, because then we'll get a top pick. No, because if you don't fire him, we're going to end up with the 14th, 15th pick because we'll get hot at some point against inferior teams. It's going to happen. I'm more in a wait and see type of situation. I want to see what happens this weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to lose to Buffalo, so I'm not even really waiting to see about that. At some point, how bad are we going to lose to Buffalo is the better question. And then I want to see how they face against the Jets, because the Jets look better than I thought they were going to look. I'm still glad they lost. So I'm more in a wait and see. And to answer Salt's question, Sellers right now is my top guy. I really like him.
You like my guy?
My God.
Doug, you wouldn't, if we do get the number 1 pick, you wouldn't take a left tackle over a quarterback?
Now we're talking draft.
I love it. Not saying Jake Long was a bad pick. He was a phenomenal player. Obviously, they didn't
quarterback.
But Matt Ryan,
if say that happens, right? Say we have a top 3 pick because we're that bad.
Right.
And again, it's a win-win because either we win a playoff game or we're that bad, or we get a top 3 pick. Side note, people need to realize something, and they didn't activate Tua's option, which they very easily could have, and added corners, $19 million in cap space.
Yes.
They didn't, for an obvious reason. 2 moves need to be made. The Dolphins right now are over the cap by $27 million next year. If they trade Tua pre-June 1st, if they trade Tua and cut Tyreek Hill, they're at $40 million in cap space. Like that. So, and then if they do, and then the funny thing is, if they trade Tua post June 1st, it's like $40 million cap saving. It's ridiculous. And I know people are just like, who's going to trade for Tua? I'm pretty sure you can get a 7th round pick for Tua.
Oh, boy.
I'm pretty sure.
At this point, it would be the savings over the compensation.
Exactly. But yeah, if we're that bad, you take a quarterback. But again, if we're that bad and we have a new GM and we have a new head coach and they take a tackle,
Fire him
It's
right
going to
there.
be
Fire
a
him, Man City.
long
Fire him.
regime.
Let's not wait anymore. Now you're talking my stuff, draft stuff. I love Sellers. He reminds me of a young Dante Culpepper, the good one at UCF and at Minnesota. I like Nussmeier too. This is a heck of a quarterback class, by the way. This is where we're at after week one. We're talking draft and quarterbacks. You mentioned next week with after this kind of loss, how many games would it take for you to rebuild the trust of this team? Like, where you could, okay, maybe it was just week one.
For the fan base,
Yeah, or you personally.
they'd have to beat the Jets. If they can go 2-2 in the month of September, I'd feel better. Like the Patriots are kind of struggling a little bit. So that's why we're probably favorited a little bit. And I went and watched the highlights of that Patriots game, and their defense isn't great. Their secondary got burnt a lot by the Raiders. The Jets are a different breed. And I want to see how they fare against Justin Fields. So, and then you got the Panthers, who are kind of in the same boat as the Dolphins. You have a small quarterback who can't see over the offensive line. So, if you can go home for the Chargers game and be 3-2, it kind of turns things around. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. 2-2. Got to get next week. If they lose next week, this is.
If they lose next week, I wouldn't be shocked if Mike McDaniel's fired.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat. We got a bunch of people in here. We got Doug. Everybody hit that like. Drop them likes. Hit the little bell. Subscribe. It takes a second. We're here with Doug Lee Do-Wrong. I mean, this is fun. I agree with you. I think next week is. I'm waking up the next morning. I better see a statement of the firing. Go ahead, Jason.
Doug, how do you make that statement? What changes? I mean, we touched on certain nuances and what we didn't like from week one, but what would you do if it was your team? How do you change? What happened on Sunday to go into next Sunday?
First off, I'd have more prepared for week one.
How about this? Everything.
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I don't know what McDaniel can do because he put himself in this situation by allowing the team to play this way, allow the team to have this mentality and this mantra about them that it's like Bradley Chubb's statement is worrying that, you know,
freelance statement.
Yeah. And because he also said, you know, like we were talking about before, he also said that last year they didn't care. And it's a problem. And it didn't change. And everyone's talking all that talk. And, you know, this was the show me year. And they're not showing us. So, you know, what changed? Just win. This is where you do, you know, maybe the Colts are better than we thought. Let's go positive, right? Maybe the Colts are better than we thought.
Tell us the hopium.
Here we go. I'll give you something. Jim Irsay is being, you know, remembered, and maybe Danny Dimes just needed a change of scenery. Because if you remember, you know, he got the contract because they went and won a playoff game and, you know, did well that year. Maybe the Colts are just better than we thought. And maybe we went into that game thinking, oh, we're better than them, got punched in the mouth, and now we realize, oh, we have things to work on, and we're going to work on them. If we go out and we beat the Patriots like 30-10, I think a lot of us are going to think, oh,
we're back.
The Colts are that good. You know, the Colts are, or maybe we didn't take it seriously. And then say we go, this isn't happening. Again, I'm trying to sell some hopium for you guys. Say we go to the Buffalo when we only lose by 3 again. Then you start to think to yourself, okay, maybe they turned it around. But in reality, we'll probably beat the Patriots by 3. If we do, we're going to lose to the Bills by like 20 because they'll start feeling bad for us. And then the Jets, I don't even know what Jet team is going to show up. You know what I'm saying? Because there's multiple Jet teams. Because we've seen Justin Fields go out there and run around and do his thing, and then he's disappeared. So it's a bit going into the season. This was a huge enigma for me. I said they could be a 5-win team to a 10-win team. And I'm still there, man. I don't know. I have no idea what to think about this team.
I said the same thing. I could not. Usually I get a good read. This team, there was too many variables. And I was like, this team could win 6 or 7 or 11 or 12. not sure, and then we're looking like more of the kind of the 6,
5,
5, 6, or 7, or you mentioned. I'll give you the other side of it. Maybe the Colts. We said that the Colts are 3-0. Okay, this team's really good. Like they got good weapons. That defensive coordinator. I talked about it on our pre-show with Curtis. That defensive coordinator, he completely changed. It's a 360 from. You can't even look at the Colts tape from last year. They got better in the secondary. They're more aggressive. He put on he was disguising coverages before. I mean, he put on a clinic. All right, let me ask you a few more here. Let me ask you, in both of us. I want both of us to answer this. All three of us to answer this. Percentage Tyreek's dealt before the deadline. Who wants to go first?
Let our guest go.
Pretty high, honestly. Again, we go into the Chargers game and we have 1 win. Yeah, he's gone. And not because of him, but because just what's the point at that point? Especially with, at that point you have a new head coach and, or actually, I don't know.
Chat's going 100%. 99, 90. I'm gonna go. I'll start. I'll go 70.
Yeah, it's up there. 70 to 80%. Yeah. Especially because, if it continues like we saw yesterday, yeah, I could definitely see it being
Jason,
high.
Yeah.
He'll go back. You know what's funny?
Go ahead, Doug.
He'll go back to the Chiefs. We'll trade him to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I was literally just going to say.
Somebody mentioned, I think Florida mentioned the Steelers. That was a good idea, too. Steelers, I don't know about you guys. Aaron Rodgers, X gave it to us. Yeah. I was surprised they didn't attack X. Go ahead. I know you hate percentages, Jason.
I do hate percentages, but I'm going to throw a bombshell. I'm going to throw a bombshell percentage. It's going to be 100%. And the reason why because what I wanted to tweet on Friday night after I was reeling from my fantasy gem pick of Xavier Worthy going down, mixed with Rashee Rice being suspended for 5 more games. If this team is 0-3, it would be an egregious miss for the Chiefs not to pick up the phone if they haven't already and called up Chris Greer and say, okay, here's what I'm going to offer you. Because what are you doing with him? We need him back. And the problem is, does Tyreek Hill warrant a first-round pick, which very well could be the 30 to 32nd pick?
Mm-hmm.
And is it worth it to trade for the 62nd or 64th pick?
Mm-hmm.
My answer is yes, because the Dolphins do have a very nice war chest for next year. And what you can do in stockpiling is prepare yourselves to move up to the top 2 or 3. If you fall a little short, hypothetically, Dolphins start 1-4, 0-4. You trade Tyreek. Anthony Weaver comes in, lights a fire under their asses, and they win 6 games, which is probably not what you want at that point. You might have to say, all right, I'm going to be the team to move up and move heaven and earth with 6 picks over 2 years to get the franchise savior, or at least a chance of it. It's going to be 100%. I cannot, at this point, unless they rattle off 3 straight divisional wins and they're in it, what the hell are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying it's going to be 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else, if you go upside down, who else are some guys you'd get rid of? Like,
Chubb? I would trade Bradley Chubb. Because,
careful, he's going to block you if you just say that.
At this point,
you know what? I don't think I said anything negatively about Jalen Ramsey, and he blocked me on the way out too. So I also take pride.
I want to be blocked. I don't feel cool. I want to be blocked.
I also take pride, a lot of pride, in not being one of the people blocked by Mike Gesicki, but that's neither here nor there.
Mike, you can block me. I don't care.
The fact of the matter is, the writing is on the wall now that there could be a different person potentially making the picks in Champ Kelly, and there could be reasons to use every bit of asset you can to put yourself in position to get a top 2 or top number 1 quarterback next year. Whoever the consensus number 1 guy will be, the Dolphins are going to have to be in play for that.
Mm-hmm.
A few more here. Go ahead, Dave. Doug. All right. Percentage McDaniel still coaches after the Madrid game. Doug, we'll put you on this one first.
10.
Ooh.
10%.
I'll be surprised if he makes.
I'd be surprised if he makes the Madrid game.
Yeah.
Remember the movie The Big Short?
Yeah.
Remember Steve Carell? 0.
Yeah,
0%.
I'll go in the middle. I'll go between you guys. I'll go 5. I think I think with Doug's right. I don't know if he or Jordan agrees with me. I don't think he makes it to the Madrid game. All right. We'll get you out of here in this last question here. If the season's turned upside down, is it there's no chance that it's a partial thing? Do you think it's a package deal, all 3, or do you see a world where Greer's back or Tua's the quarterback, they have to keep him around? Or do you see it as, I mean, with this thing, the bottom falls out?
Yeah, if we win, it doesn't even matter. If we don't make the playoffs, yeah, all of them are gone. Like I said, they'll trade Tua. They'll do whatever they need to trade Tua. And a lot of people again say like, who's going to take him? You'd be surprised, man. You get the I think the cap compensation that they would take, because we take a big dead cap hit, but again we get a cap savings. It's not that high for the new team, so they'll take him. 7th rounder. Tua's a competent backup.
You make a great point. I think a lot. Like if you're the Falcons, imagine Tua in the dome with those weapons they have with Atlanta. Just like Saints. The Saints, like Tua will help a bunch of teams. Jason, you agree? It's a complete. If the bottom falls out, everything goes. Because this is not their MO. This is not their MO.
The Greer issue is odd a little bit because there's a lot of skeletons in closets that he could just if he gets jetted from the building. So maybe it's a shuffle into another role within the building.
Yeah.
But yes, the 3-headed monster of coach, quarterback, and general manager needs to be switched. I can't guarantee that Greer will be gone, but I think he needs to have his hands washed clean of decision making. I don't even want him, if this situation falls, for him to have a suggestion. Put him in some sort of whatever you want to do, but the decision will have to be 1,000% on the new general manager in tandem with a new coach to find a new quarterback, new direction, and sorry to use the word, new identity.
Yeah, because what people don't realize is 2 things. One, the reason we were where we are with Mike McDaniel, if you notice no one interviewed Mike McDaniel, it's because we casted a very narrow net by telling people you have to work with Tua and you have to keep Josh Boyer.
Exactly,
and we're
right.
keeping Chris Greer as our GM. Second thing, Mike Tannenbaum was still with the team. They just took him and they just put him somewhere else. So that's exactly what's going to happen with Chris Greer, because Jason's 100% correct. He has skeletons that he can release, whether it's legal skeletons or whatnot, because there is something legally still going on, that they will just stash him somewhere like they did with Mike Tannenbaum. Mike Tannenbaum had football control. We all know about it because, that's the reason that, Greer wasn't fired with Gase. And then they moved him. He was still with the organization, and they're going to do the same thing with Greer. They're just going to move him somewhere else until his contract's up, and then they'll probably just move on from him.
Yeah, you mentioned that. We mentioned that, Jason. You mentioned it about the problem is they put, okay, we'll hire you. You're not going to get the best guy in the room when you giving him the quarterback. You're giving him the coach. It's not going to work. You make a great point, and I hope, like you mentioned, Jason, was it Chip Kelly or
Champ Kelly?
Champ Kelly. I want somebody out of the organization. I want that scouting room. It needs a reset or refresh button. But yeah, I wanted it complete. But I know they brought him in. They like him. But yeah, and Greer will get some position, some executive. It will be actually a promotion, but a demotion, right? Like they're just going to keep him happy and save face because you said there's some legal stuff still going on. All right, early day after Patriots prediction, Doug. Not your final one. I know you probably have some on your channel. Give me your thoughts and your early thoughts the day after. I know it's early, but
for the sake of the fan base, they better win. They better win. But here's the thing.
Same for us. Hard said.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. It's like a 2-headed sword, right? Because Tua has not lost to the New England Patriots as a starting quarterback. And he's faced multiple head coaches, multiple quarterbacks. He has not lost as the starting quarterback of the Dolphins. Here's the thing, though. He has not beat Mike Vrabel. So it's a problem, and we're in that conundrum again. But they better win. I don't care if it's by 1 point. I don't care if it's by a fluky pass interference that the Patriot fans will say, oh, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. They better win. Because if they don't, I think you're going to see some changes.
I'm going to throw in a little bit extra spice here in a negative sense. Stephon Diggs has made a living against the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
An absolute living. He's 8-1 against them. He's got 7 touchdowns. All right. And the Dolphins also have a problem with mobile quarterbacks. Drake May is a mobile quarterback. And Mike Vrabel is licking his chops like he's probably back at his playing days, knowing that he's about to get a couple of sacks. So my hopes are not high for this. And I think that it could very well be a close game, but I think this is going to be a heartbreaking fourth quarter loss.
It would fit what Vrabel's done with the Titans. He's scared. Vrabel's got our number a little bit here. That great point here, Doug. All right, Doug, thank you so much. Thank to everybody in the chat, man. It was lively at a 1 p.m. On a Monday, the day after the game. Thank you all so much. Don't forget, on your way out, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. We'll be live Wednesday with you on our 3 Wide show, me and Jason. We have a very special guest. You're going to be excited about it. We're still finalizing everything. We'll announce it. And of course, Saturday we'll be on with our show with me and Curtis and Jason. Saturday on the sidelines, countdown to game day at 10:30 a.m. Doug, on the way out, what you got going on, man? I know you got plenty of stuff you got going on with you here at your channel and the collective.
Yeah, busy week. Still doing the grind, even though this team's driving me nuts. Got the collective tomorrow night and Friday. And yeah, just 5 days a week, doing my thing, trying to keep my sanity.
You're doing great, man. You're killing it.
Doug, we appreciate you, my man. Thank you for joining us.
Let's do it again sometime in the season, man. If you ever need anything from us, let us know. All right, guys, for Doug, for Jason, and myself, we're out. Fins up, guys. Take care.